Welcome back. You're tuning in to Financial Fitness Northwest live on 1150 KKNW. We're here to help you navigate the mortgage and real estate market with expert advice from knowledgeable and trustworthy industry professionals. So first off, here in studio, I have Kamran Mostofi. Yeah.
Got it.
All right. With JK Properties. He's a real estate agent and owner of JK Properties. Kamran is passionate about real estate and about teaching and protecting those investing in it. He graduated from the University of Washington in 2005. He started creative real estate endeavors in 2004, acquiring more than $3.5 million in assets. In 2006, Kamran was employed as the Director of Development in Dubai, overseeing the development of 16 projects. He then moved to VREG, where he developed and ran the residential real estate team responsible for negotiating over $100 million of distressed properties, helping out hundreds of families in some of their toughest moments. He currently owns and runs the team at Jenna Kamran Properties, where last year they sold 368% more homes than the average agent in Washington State. That's pretty impressive. This year, they are on track to increase by 40% from last year. And Kamran is married to his loving wife and partner, Jenna, and they have 4 kids under the age of 5. Wow. That's crazy. I'm so excited to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome. Yeah. How old are your kids?
Carson will be 6 in July. Kensington will be 4 in July. Kennedy was just turned 2, and Cannon is 4 months.
Dang.
Yeah.
Wow.
She's really pretty, my wife. Didn't realize that turned into kids. But what can I say?
Nice. That's nice. Well, gosh, I thought I was busy, but 4, man, I don't know. That's a lot.
I think you might be more busy. 3.
Really?
Well, because 3 is, I think, a little harder. Once you have 4, that oldest helps.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, I have an oldest. She's 7, but I feel like her and my 4-year-old are just like at it, man.
Button heads.
Yeah. They're not helping anything.
That can make
So, well, I'm so glad to have you in. Today we're going to talk about buyers, right? And just kind of winning in this market. So let's first, I think you kind of just shed some light on like, what's your philosophy, as an agent, when you're supporting a buyer?
I think that's a great question. One of the biggest things as I think about real estate, I like to jump back and think, how does someone buy this asset? It's a big asset. It's
right.
Most of the time one of the largest purchases someone will make. Mm-hmm. And you think about the time and energy it takes to make that decision. And I think education is huge. You want to teach somebody.
Right.
So when someone comes into our team, one of the biggest things that my philosophy resides around is I have 3 rules to all of our clients. Number 1, we walk it out. Number 2, we make unknowns known. And number 3, there's always another house.
Okay.
So because of that, our philosophy is to educate people, allow them to start in a safe place, not have that pressure to, you have to get this first house.
Right.
Listen, let's write a safe offer. It's okay if we lose, and let's learn. And then we'll get more aggressive as we learn what it takes to win.
Right.
And sometimes that can take a little bit longer, but at the other times, I feel like it's a safer path.
Yeah, and probably makes them feel better because, I'm actually just have this situation right now, and it happens all the time, right? When you have a buyer and they feel like they're losing in the market, right?
Yeah.
Because they're not willing to kind of like, pull out all the stops yet, right?
Sure.
They're just dipping their toes in the water.
Yep.
And so they do a little, which to them feels like a lot. They're like, what? I'm going to pay how much over if the appraisal comes in low? I'm going to what? So that's scary. But it takes losing a few for you to realize what you're really comfortable with. Yeah. And so when you get to that point, I'm sure as the buyer, you feel good about it. Like
totally.
You weren't pushed to release all those contingencies.
You got it.
Right? And so you feel like you're winning rather than like, oh my gosh, what did I just do?
Yeah, I mean, what's the alternative? You go in on the first house and you bid really, really big and you get it, and then you're thinking, oh no, did I overpay?
Exactly.
That's not somebody that's protected. That's not someone that feels good about their purchase necessarily. Yep. I mean, you can, but I'm just saying in general, we're not in a rush. Mm-hmm. Now, if it's the right, there's plenty of occasions where that makes sense. And I'm not trying to say that there's not a right way to do that. But
right.
I think in general, teaching people, helping them walk it out. And one of my favorite phrases is, you cold feet, you run away from something.
Yeah.
I like to put people's feet on ice. If we're waving something like, well, I'm not sure, I'll say, well, let's pretend that you failed, that this goes through.
Yeah.
That means that this money's committed. You don't get it back. You're not going to get this. You means you have to come up with this much extra. And if that freaks you out, then let's not write this.
Right.
Let's go back. Let's step back.
Yeah.
And let's write what, if we lose, I guarantee you I will get you all the information about how many other offers there were, where they went, what they did, so that you can use that as dots on a graph and figure out where to go next time.
Yeah, just learn from it.
Totally.
Yeah.
100%.
So you keep saying walk it out. What do you mean by walk it out?
I think that there's a lot to a process, including your mortgage broker, and we did a deal recently, which I absolutely thought was amazing, where the gentleman had a lot of property, and he was having to reorganize all the properties.
Yeah.
Good man. And I think that when it comes to walking it out, first and foremost, people typically go, "Oh, I want this house. Let me go look at it." Well, let's make unknowns known. Let's go talk to a mortgage broker.
Right.
Let's see what you can afford and what you want to spend. And in most cases, not all, but in most cases, a smart person does not always go to their max ability to buy.
No.
And then we educate more so we know our numbers. Let's learn about interest rates. Listen, we can just go online and find the cheapest interest rate, but that's only an interest rate.
Right.
Did they understand that you were offering on a condo versus a house, which has a higher interest rate? Did they look at your debt to income, which makes it a higher interest rate or a lower interest rate? Did they take into consideration your down payment and what percentage, which can affect your interest rate?
Right.
So figuring out all of these and having that conversation with the mortgage broker first allows us to then go and make an educated decision on what we're looking for. And then we learn about what's going on in the market with step-by-step offers, and we can little by little make ourselves more educated to make good offers in a pace that a buyer feels comfortable with. I'm all about making smart decisions. We're not in this to be naive or ignorant, and more so, especially with a buyer or a first-time buyer, I think it's important. I'm in this for life. I mean, I know everything about my clients. I know you do too. They're my friends. We send, and we'll get to that maybe in a little bit, but yeah, walk it out. One step at a time.
I like that.
Figure it out, and don't feel rushed.
Yeah. So do you advise all of your clients to speak to a lender first, or you kind of show them a home first, or
it depends
what's your
on
process?
How we meet.
Okay.
So if I meet through a source that says, "Hey, I really, really want to go check out this house. Can you take me?" Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm all about them.
Right.
So let's do it. In that time, generally, I get connected really well with somebody, and I understand them. I learn a little bit about them, and then we sit down and look at their goals. If their goals are just to get a house and they don't have some kind of quick 1031 exchange investment property, then yes, let's go talk to a lender. Let's figure it out and make you feel comfortable.
Yeah. Because knowing the numbers is like really the first step and the key, because most times in this market, I feel like it depends on what kind of buyer you are. You know, if you're, which the average, home price in King County, I just talked about last week, I think it's like $550, something like that, right? Mid fives. So if you're in that price range or above, most likely you probably actually qualify for more than you're comfortable your payment being. So figuring out your numbers and what your comfort zone is and how you want to structure your financing, a lot of times in this market, people feel like they have to put 20% down to win the deal. But if you're strategic about it and you're working with a financial planner or a lender, there's ways to get around that and be strategic about your money so you don't, and you have to sit down and be advised on those things first. You can't just go in not knowing.
And you have to have a good agent. I mean, listen, we just won a bid for one of our clients at $635,000. That was a cash offer competing at the same price.
Nice.
And the agent sent me a text. The agent sent me a text saying your reputation's amazing, and because of it, we want to work with you. And we're choosing your offer over the cash offer. Now, I personally wrote back, "You're amazing. Thank you so much."
Yeah.
Her name was Jill. P.S. I think that's nuts, but I'll take it. But
you're like, accepted.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I think that also comes back to a lot about the agent. So you have the mortgage broker. You figure out your numbers.
Yep.
I love math. That's one of my strengths. People in math. So when we get into a house, I can sit there and look, well, hey, if you go to this level, $10,000 more, that means you're going to be paying $50 more a month. If you go this, it's $500 to $600 more a month. If we go down 0.5% or 1%, we're $80 a month per 100,000. So we can, per 100,000 at 1%. So by figuring that out and knowing that, you can walk it out and kind of do the numbers. Well, listen, we talked to our mortgage broker. We love Sarah. She said this is our monthly payment. We can get this much house. Okay, if I go down $50,000, great. Now I'm saving $350 a month.
Right.
Simple, makes sense. That's an educated buyer in an educated market, and that buyer is going to feel great, and that's our goal.
Yeah. Well, sounds like you have the right team set up because, a lot of agents, aren't as numbers, a numbers guy like you are, numbers associated. So you're really dialing it in for them. So, I mean, that's a really good team with whatever lender you work with because, they don't have to keep going back to the lender. You're out showing the house. You can, talk to them about what is this going to mean for you on, your monthly payment. So obviously I know why you're a great real estate agent. We've touched on, your guys' philosophy, but for the buyer, how, let's say you're getting ready to buy a house right now. How can you prepare to win? What do you need to do? Put your, best foot forward. What do you have to do?
Okay. So I think that A, we've talked to a mortgage broker. We know our numbers. B, we know what we're capable of.
Right.
Right. And especially in this market, which is largely an emotion-based market, you can't say, well, typical things are selling for 2-3% over asking. I just had a property that we bid on in Newport for in the low sixes go for over $800,000. So
wow.
that's an exceptional, crazy stuff. But you're talking almost $180,000. That's nearly 20% over asking. The numbers don't always make sense in percentages. There's an emotional bid. People want out. They've lost. So how do you win? One of the ways that I think is best to win is having an agent who's tenacious. We have a number of listings that we put up, 8 to 9 offers that come in on a listing. Maybe one agent calls me every hour or even once between when they submit the offer and when they find out if they lose.
Really?
8? Oh, yeah, maybe once. By the way,
shocking to me.
How do you win? You have a mortgage broker who calls the listing agent and says, by the way, hi, my name's Sarah Riley. My client is Bob and Jackie Smith, and they're looking to buy this property. I've fully approved them. I've gotten them all the way through underwriting. So the answer to your question is you go all the way through underwriting with your lender.
Yes.
Because now that's shaved a week and a half off your closing time. Plus, it lets the seller know, oh, wow, I got a buyer who's fully approved.
Right. Basically the same as cash.
Their taxes are in. Yeah, it's basically the same as cash. There's a lot of positives to it. That's step one. Step two, you have an agent who knows how to make sure that they tailor that well to calling. I call, say, hey, by the way, your lender, Sarah Riley, is going to give you a call, and she's going to, and this is her name, and this is the client's name that we're going to be writing the offer for. I want to make sure you know that this is, and I preface them, they're this much down, they're this much as their credit score, here's their DTI. Sarah's going to tell you all this too, but I just wanted to make sure that you knew it from me. A listing agent who hears from an agent and then from a lender, now that buyer's name is coming up multiple times, and then I call every 30 minutes. The minute I submit it, it's insane. One of my sellers recently said, hey, does your method piss people off? I said 90% of the time. They said, how often does it work? I said 70% of the time. I call every 30 minutes. And I would say, Sarah, if you're the listing agent, Sarah, I'm so sorry, but I promised Bob and Jackie I'd call every 30 minutes. You don't have to take my call, but I will call and text every 30 minutes to hear what's going on. And I do. And usually after about 3 calls, they answer. And what will come from it is, okay, we have 8 deals. We're somewhere around the $650 price point. So we'll kind of let you know. And that lets me call my client back, say, hey, you're at $630. You don't have to go up. But if you want to, there's a good chance $660 takes it. Usually I call the person back, say, hey, I got $660. Do I get it? If I would send you $660 right now, do I win? And the agent will often go, well, I'm not sure. Okay, well, then I don't need it. But if you want $660, you want 10 extra thousand, and we win, we're done? Well, okay, great. 5 minutes is mine guaranteed. And you just kind of guide that listing agent to a corner where they're like, oh, I guess nobody else is even calling.
Right.
How do you win? You have you write a good offer.
Right.
That's important. You fully underwrite with your lender. And then you have an agent who's tenacious, who's got one client, the buyer. And I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that buyer gets that house.
Wow, that is impressive, I have to say. I'm sure there's not really many agents that do that. But in doing so, I mean, obviously you might irritate some people, but you also are given the opportunity of information that they don't have that you can then take to your buyer. And then they know, like either they're out or they're in. Like, I'm not going to go that high. And they're moving on to the next thing, or they have the opportunity to win the deal. And
we won a deal just this week. We won a deal with, because again, I knew the agent, but I knew where we were going, I knew how many offers there were. Told them, hey, 2,000 more and it's ours. 2,000 more and it was ours. And then another deal, the client last week was at 730 and on a 660, and I think it went up to 700 or something, and 800. We're at 730 on 660, went up to 800, and the client's like, that's too much from us, I'm out. But they knew that. How many of the other 19 offers didn't know that?
Right, and then they're just waiting for how long to find out, all emotional and tied into the property.
And then follow up. I follow up with every offer that we write with the agent. Now, we lost. You just wrote an offer. You just lost. I follow up with Mr. James, whatever, and say, James, how many offers? They don't call me back. James, this is me calling again. 3rd day in a row. Just did this with an agent to be unnamed. 3rd day in a row. Hey, if I don't hear from you today, I'm going to call you again tomorrow. I look forward to hearing from you. I just need to know details about how many offers there were and the averages. Come back. Here's the average in earnest money that's going down, so you can put it on your graph. Here's the average, how many offers there were. Here's how high the average offer was. This is information. If you don't have
your
that,
buyers.
You're just running out to the next one to
blindly
compete. Totally, just to throw more money at something. I don't think that's intelligent.
Wow. So, I mean, okay, you're a buyer. You're interviewing agents. How do they know they're getting a guy like you?
Great question.
I would ask, what should you ask?
I'd ask them first, can you tell me about your deals? How many deals you did? Great question. Well, how many deals have you done? How much property do you own?
Let's say, why does that matter? Why
have
would
they gone through the process themselves?
Right.
How do you relate to someone?
Experienced?
Yeah, I mean, someone who goes through some good or bad experience, if you can't necessarily relate, it's a little bit, not that you have to, listen, there's a lot of great agents out there that don't own property. I'm not speaking down. But if you're trying to qualify, for me, I'd like to know that somebody owns some property.
Yeah.
I have investment property that rents on an annual basis. I own vacation property that rents on a daily basis. And I have primary residences that we own as well. And we just sold an investment property recently. So I think I've bought somewhere around 16 homes, bought and sold 16 homes. And so it's, what have they done? How many deals have they closed? You can get data from Zillow, a little plug for them, I guess, on what the average agent sells. And
I was just curious on that, though. On Zillow?
Yeah.
Is that only listings or is that all deals?
It's all deals.
Oh, it
is.
Okay.
The stat they just sent me from them said, congratulations, you just went to the top 360+% people that,
Oh, really?
The average agent only closed 11 sides. So,
wow.
Yeah, so you ask about their closings, ask about their experience, and then generally you'll get along with people that perhaps have similar interests. And so I think that I would look for someone who's financially minded because I like numbers.
Yep.
And I just want someone who cares about me. The other question I would ask is, hey, your top 10 clients, can you think of them by name? And don't need to tell me, but think of them, okay? How many of them have ever been to your house? How many of them have you ever gone to dinner with?
Yeah, who are you breaking bread with?
Your top 10 clients. Yeah, who are you breaking bread with? These are your top 10 clients, and you don't spend – every agent loves the phrase, I'll be your realtor for life, or the best thing for me is a referral. You got to earn the referral.
Yeah.
A client yesterday sent me out of nowhere – he's actually not even a client yet. We have a giving war. I love to be giving. Sends me books, 2 books.
Love that.
And then bought us all desserts. We actually turned the dessert person away because we're like, who sent us desserts? We don't know anybody. Like, and then he's like, no, those are mine.
Desserts?
Yeah, Wes, like, those are mine. Answer them. And my wife goes, are we sending some of our money to him? He's a financial advisor.
Okay.
We need to send him some money.
Yeah.
Just from generosity and relationship building.
Right. Well, I love that. I mean, I think those are some really good questions because truthfully, like if you're in business and you're a relationship-based person, which I am, and Patricia is, pretty much your clients are your friends. You are in relationship with them, whether, closely or somewhat closely, but you're in contact with them. You should know who they are. And so if you're just transactional, then no, you're not having, meals with your clients, right? You're just doing the deal and you're on to the next deal.
Do you know the kids' birthdays? Do you send them gifts?
Right.
You send them birthday cards? Do you take care of them?
Yeah.
Are you there when they're having a tough day to send them something saying, hey, look up, still thinking about you?
Right.
So yeah, we love our clients. They're our best friends, and we do everything we can to know everything about them.
Wow, that's fantastic. I think I will want to use you when I when I finally upgrade. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Hey, no
That
worries.
was some great information, and I guess if anyone out there is looking for a wonderful agent, you got to call Kamran.
The commercial had the phone number wrong. It was 360, not 306.
Okay, 360, and I'll put it on the website too. So if you guys want to get in touch with him, all information of all the guests on the show is always on the site. So when we come back from commercial, we're going to be talking to Brianna Nettleton with Footprints of Fight, who will share with us what they're doing to change the lives of families with children battling cancer. Like I said, to find out about any topics discussed on today's show or to find out information about the guests we have in studio, you can find us online at www.financialfitnessnw.com.